Hey, and welcome back to Talk of Betterworlds. I'm Sir Felix the Cat, and this is The Blender. This is a weekly show where we take something that we're nerdy about and kind of make a list out of it. This week, I want to talk a little bit about some post-apocalyptic IPs. As I've mentioned before on this channel, this is possibly my favorite genre. One that I could probably go on about endlessly, especially considering we have so many books, TV shows, movies, and video games on this topic. It might be something that I think about a little bit too much. I'm not a doomsday prepper or anything. However, I do often find myself just sitting there daydreaming about having to explore the wastelands, all these horrible tore down buildings, maybe get irradiated, maybe have to fight off some, raiders or some mutants. And by that I mean having to run away like a coward from some raiders or mutants. Maybe if I was there I would join some faction like the New California Republic in Fallout. Or just go out on my own, like Mad Max. Either way, there is so much potential out there in the wasteland. Here are 6 post-apocalyptic IPs to check out if you're a fan of Mad Max or the Fallout series. With that out of the way, let's grab our purified water and let's go. Number 6. Wastelands video game series. Predating the first Fallout game by 9 years, we have the Wastelands video game series. The first Wastelands game, released in 1988 by developer Interplay Productions for the Apple II, and was later ported to the Commodore 64 as well as MS-DOS. Today, it is available on PC via Steam and GOG. I personally never played the first one, and actually, until researching this video, I was ignorant of the remaster released in 2020. My first experience with this series was with Wastelands 2 Director's Cut, released in 2015 for PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. This was just an enhanced version of the PC game that was released the year prior. The series is now being developed by In Exile Studios. You take the role of a Desert Ranger new enrollee in the year 2102. Unfortunately, you start on a sad day as Ranger Ace has been found unalived. To prove you are worthy enough to be an official ranger, your first task is to go out and search the wastelands of Arizona to find out who exactly is behind Ace's unaliving, settling the score in the LA region of California. In this desert wasteland, you will need to manage your water and ammo while carefully deciding what to do next, as your decisions do matter and may have undesirable consequences. In 2020, In Exile also released one of my favorite games of all times, Wastelands 3. In this one, the ruler of Colorado has requested assistance from the Desert Rangers to save Colorado in exchange for food and supplies that the Rangers desperately need. While on your way to Colorado, you are ambushed and only a small number of you remain. Upon meeting the ruler of Colorado, you start to realize not everything is as it seems. Among his enemies are his own children. Who will you support? Again, your choices matter, and the consequences may very well lead to the downfall of the Rangers. But looking on the bright side, this time you have a dope tank. Number 5. Elix video game series. Elix is a game that blends futuristic and medieval elements, developed by Piranha Bytes and published by THQ Nordic in 2017. It can be rather difficult at times, and has a bit of jank, but I cannot recommend it enough. Let me fill you in on what Elix is all about. Set in the world of Magellan, a large asteroid had struck the planet, causing the apocalypse. This meteor was made of Elix, a foreign stone that has many potential uses. Next, we have the Outlaws, who live on a pre-apocalypse military base. The Outlaws are reminiscent of the gangs in Mad Max, just minus the cars and the need for gas. Instead, they hoard Elix, as it is the world's currency. Also, it can get you really high if you use it right. They have managed to become enemies of all the other factions, with their attacks and their thefts, and trying to persuade people to join them. They claim to be free, but in reality, they do have a de facto ruler, Logan. I would show you some of his dialogue, but instead I'm just going to have to read it to you. For context, I had just walked up to him after not playing the game for quite a few months and asked him what it would take to join the Outlaws. And he responds with, "You can get the job done that I've given you. Now, get your bleeping bleep out of here and get it bleeping done." Lovely chap. Next, we have the Clerics. The complete opposite of the Berserkers. Clerics love technology above all else and feel that all tech belongs to them. They use Elix to power their technology. Instead of fighting directly, they use combat robots, drones, and mechs to fight for them. And this is what happens when I decide to pick a fight with a mech. Well, that was quick. And finally, we have the Elves. When a human consumes Elix, they first start to lose emotions, and then they gain enhanced strength, awareness, and speed, while losing all skin pigmentation and body hair. Should you choose to use too much, you run the risk of becoming kind of like a feral mutant, losing all sense of humanity. The Elves are the ones who have managed to control themselves and are essentially super soldiers because of it. They feel they are superior to the rest of humanity, and they do like to show it. Who will you join, and what impact will you have on the world? And number 4, Rage video game series. To be fair, this one also does have a book. I've just never read about it and just found out about it myself today. Staying on the theme of an asteroid-related apocalypse, we have the Rage video game series. Rage released in 2007 and was created by the studio behind Doom, id Software. In this, you play as U.S. Marine Nicholas Rain, who was cryogenically frozen inside an Ark, a ship made to protect those important enough from this asteroid. And you were hidden in there in the year 2029, just before asteroid 99942 Apophis hit the planet, causing the apocalypse. Your Ark emerges, and you awake in the year 2135 to what is essentially a new world. As new as it is to you, 3 things have never changed. Everybody's still using guns, everybody has a car, and there are evil megalomaniacs trying to control the world. And with that last one, this is where General Cross and the Authority comes into play. The Authority is a heavily armed and advanced military group that uses its power to shape the wastelands to their benefit. Their goal is supposed to be returning order to the wasteland, but to them, doing so just means killing all the mutants, probably all the bandits, and wasteland settlers, especially Ark survivors, who they hunt down with a prejudice. General Cross and his most dedicated soldiers, before asteroid 99942 Apophis hit the planet, they were actually not supposed to be on an Ark. But instead, they took by force the super Ark that was planned for the US president and all his staff, leaving them to be unalived in the impact. Now Rage 2, it's set in 2165, and this time focuses on Walker, an orphan who joins the Rangers, a military force dedicated to combating the Authority and making the wastelands peaceful, hopefully a better place. Even though the Authority was dealt a harsh blow at the end of the first game, they are back and stronger than ever. This one has received mixed reception, as it leans heavier into the comedic violence and almost resembles something closer to Borderlands. Number 3, Horizon Zero Dawn. To round out the video game section of this list, we have Horizon. Specifically, we are going to focus on Horizon Zero Dawn, the first game in the series, developed by Guerrilla Games and released for the PlayStation 4 in 2017. set in the 31st century in the region of Colorado and Utah roughly, we find a post-apocalyptic world that is like no other. Instead of wastelanders driving cars, shooting guns, and all that nonsense, we have creatures called machines. Machines are sentient robotic versions of animals you would see through human history, including but not limited to giraffes, saber-toothed tigers, avian creatures, and even some dinosaurs. If you ever wanted to know what it was like to be eaten by a roboraptor, well, here you go. Oh, is that just me? So, a little bit of history on this one. There was this company called Faro Automated Solutions, and they developed AI war machines. These AI machines one day got a virus, and they wiped out basically all of humanity. Because of this, scientists started the Zero Dawn Project with their own AI, Gaia. This project was to terraform Earth and essentially restore life to it. Gaia designed machines that looked like animals and other creatures in history to help the world look and kind of feel more alive. But because nothing good can ever last, Gaia eventually died, and the creation started acting more like real and sometimes savage animals. It's our job to guide Aloy across this beautiful and terrifying land while uncovering the mysteries of the past. Number 2. Midworld, the Dark Tower series, Stephen King. Now I know, I did just bring up Midworld not long ago in another list, but you'll just have to excuse me as I have more to say on this series. One thing I failed to mention is how Midworld is a post-apocalyptic world. I use that term a little more loosely, but it's still true. So thousands of years ago, this was known as All-World. One of the races inhabiting this world were the Great Old Ones, who were a highly advanced race that built these impressive cities and contraptions. One of these contraptions just so happens to be a monorail that traveled at 800 miles per hour, completely eclipsing the 200 mile per hour of the famous bullet train in Japan. Even though they were so advanced, war still broke out among them, a war called the Great Cataclysm. This war completely ended their civilization, as well as sent the world into turmoil. Toxins and nuclear waste polluted the air, making it unsafe to breathe, and poisoned the water and the soil, destroying crops for years to come. Midworld can be broken up into 3 sections. One section is called Midworld, then there's In-World and End-World, all having their own distinct biomes. Our protagonist's, Roland Deschain, journey takes him across the entire map. The earliest days of his journey can actually be viewed in the Dark Tower comics by Marvel. These can be read before or after the books. I would personally suggest that you read at least the first 4 books so you get a little more backstory and are more familiar with some of the characters, but it's up to you. There's so much lore in this world that, again, I cannot recommend this series enough. And number 1, The Road, by Cormac McCarthy. Every post-apocalyptic world we have talked about so far has been rich with sci-fi and fantasy elements. So, let's talk about one that is more suited for those who want a more realistic feel to their wasteland. To do so, you need look no further than The Road. This is a grim, dark future that shows a more grounded look at how the world would look and feel after an all-out nuclear apocalypse. Nuclear winter covers America with ash and fires. Survivors are displaced, scavenging for food and what little water they can find in a desperate attempt just to survive this newfound hellscape for just a few more days. The story focuses on a man and his attempts to raise his son into a decent, honest, and morally good person. Not everyone left in the world has the best moral compass. Cannibalism and rope, but spelled with an A instead of an O, and unaliving have become more common than they even are today. Everything they own is carried on their persons or in a grocery cart. They're wearing multiple layers of clothing just to keep the ash and the fallout off of their skin and out of their lungs. Constantly on the prowl for a safe place just to be able to rest their heads. They journey for the sea to the south, so he can show his son the ocean, hoping to find some reprieve from the destruction, and to honor the boy's mother, who very much so loved the beach. Will they find the peace they are hoping for, or will they succumb to the ailments? Read this amazing national bestseller and find out. Also, check out the 2009 movie of the same name starring Viggo Mortensen. It's a very faithful retelling. Go ahead and stop this. Well, that's all I had for you this week, but there are still so many more post-apocalyptic IPs out there with so many stories to tell. So, let me know. Do you have a favorite post-apocalyptic world? Is there one that we didn't mention that you want to hear about? Let us know down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. But before we go, I have one more thing I want to talk about. In each of these stories, the characters have someone they can rely on, a shoulder to lean on, a friendly ear to talk to, because sometimes that's all you need. And I want everybody to remember, you do have someone that cares about you. So if you need to talk to them. It's good to have someone there for you. We here at Talk of Better Worlds, we strongly believe in teamwork, and we are there for each other. We all know that if the other one needs something, we'll be there. So never forget that. There are people who love you. Well, until next time, take care. Staying on the three... And number 4. Number Sephora. Sephora. So let me know. Do you have a favorite post-apocalyptic... Well, that's all I had for you this week. Goodbye. This is a grim, dark future that shows a more grounded look at how the world would look and feel after a nuclear assault. This is a grim... Wait, hold on, let's go back. Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching.
Give us a like if you enjoyed it, and dislike it if you didn't.
Let us know what you think about the channel.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Tell your mom.